All right, we are live. Sunny days in Flushing. You got me, you got Zach. Mets lose today, making a full sweep against Cleveland in Cleveland. It's been a disastrous month of May, I guess.
Oh, it's been terrible.
Why don't you start us off here, Bass?
I mean, there's not much to say. I mean, the team's just been flat out bad. I mean, this was a tough one to lose against the Guardians, and I mean, I feel like we're saying that after every series, but to lose to the Guardians in this fashion, having the bats somewhat come alive this series, and definitely weren't necessarily the reason we lost. Kind of tough because the pitching has been what's been keeping us afloat the past month, 6 weeks, and here they kind of let us down these past few games, and honestly going back even a few more with Diaz and other starters.
Yeah, I touched on it. I touched on it Monday after the Marlins series. I mean, the most frustrating, I shouldn't say frustrating, the scariest thing I've seen out of this disaster that we're watching is Diaz not looking like himself. Um, and I think it's mental. I don't think it's a physical thing with him.
It's
Like
definitely mental. I
he's
mean,
yeah, like the velocity's there.
it's down a
I,
tick, but I mean,
it's
it's a guy who had
yeah,
was it patellar
patella
tendon?
tendon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
patella tendon surgery a year ago. I mean, he's still throwing 95. He can still touch 98, 99. I mean, the problem is, honestly, I think it's a lot to do with mental. And I've tweeted this out a bunch, I think, and even commented on other live streams like Chris's CPNY.
yeah,
I think it has to do with his is like he's almost afraid to throw the fastball because if you go back and you watch tape in 2022, like what's getting to him right now is he's going to that slider, he's going to that well one too many times, and he's just hanging one. And the
yeah.
difference between now and then was now they're only sitting slider because I don't have the numbers. I haven't looked them up, but I would bet that he's throwing it about 75% of the time.
Mm,
Whereas in 2022 and even before then, it was a good mix between the two. It was about a 50-50 mix. And it was completely off balance by the hitters. And now it's like they sit slider and he goes and he hangs one and it's done. It's gone. It's crushed.
right.
And that's just demoralizing to him because he's throwing good pitches, but they're sitting sliders. So even ones that are breaking hard off the plate, they're able to spit at it, or they're able to just kind of flail their bat at it and hit it, get a foul ball and just stay alive in the at bat. So it's a lot building up on him, and it's tough to see. But also, we pay you as much as we do.
Yeah.
Take some time, take this time off. He hasn't thrown in a couple of days. Get yourself right, and then get back out there. Even if it's him going into the sixth inning, kind of building his way back into the ninth
Well,
inning role. I'm
that that
fine with that
that's what I had said Monday. Like they're saying that they're going to take him out of the closer role. I think that's good for him. I think take some of that pressure
for
off of
now.
him. Yeah, exactly. For now,
We're not doing.
and
We're not in a pennant race.
no, and just let him build himself back up. Throw him out there in the sixth, or the seventh. If he could master that, throw him out there as a setup guy
No.
once or twice. If things look good there, then yeah, we talk about putting him back into that role. But for now, I want to see his confidence back. And even
Yep.
I'm at a point of even if that means if a starter gets the first out of the fifth or the sixth inning, and you want to pull him, okay, so bring in Diaz to get those last two outs
No.
of that inning. If that's what it takes, then that's what we have to do. We got to work with this guy. Came off a major injury last year. He was thrown right back into that role. We expected him to kind of be what he was, and we're not seeing that. And of all the guys that are struggling, truly, Alonso, Lindor, Nimmo to an extent, all the guys in this team that are struggling, Quintana, um, I have the most confidence that Diaz will find it again. And I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not comparing him to any of the greats. I'm just comparing like the progression I've seen. This isn't a guy that like a Jeff McNeil had a great year and a bad year and a great year and a bad year. This was a guy that was at the top of his game, hit
Yeah.
the lowest of the lows in 19, and you saw him slowly climb
Build his way
back
back
up
up. Yeah.
exactly into the best closer in
Yeah.
baseball. And so I think he'll get to that point again. He may not be the best because there's other great guys in the league right
Oh
now,
yeah.
but he should
He'll be amongst
absolutely
them.
he should work his way back into the conversation of top five, top three, and that's all you could ask for,
No.
really. Um, moving on from Diaz, there's been some other concerns. Reed Garrett somewhat looked human today. I didn't get a chance to watch. I don't think you did either. We had to listen. We're at
I
work.
watched a
You watched
decent
a
bit
little?
because I watched a little bit of work and then in the cars listening on the radio, and
Yeah.
then I got home and I was able to watch the rest of it. And I actually didn't see Reed Garrett's. I think it was when I was moving some stuff from my car. But Reed Garrett, he still has he's a .72 ERA. He's
Yeah.
still someone who's he's pitching amazing. So
He's
it's
our
like,
best bullpen piece right now.
yeah, I mean, look, him I'm not worried about. Every bullpen arm is going to blow saves, going to give up home runs, going to give up runs. Even in 2022, Diaz gave up, he had like 3 or 4 blown saves. He gave up a few home runs. It's going to happen. So, I spitted it. And it's just like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm okay with it. It sucks that it was him, but I'd be more worried about someone like Ottavino, where this is the second time where I think, in recent memory too, I know it happened in the Tampa Bay series where he kind of came in and he really just fell apart, and it happened again. And I still do believe in him to an extent, but I think he's someone who's probably he's going to swap places with Reed Garrett now. Reed Garrett should probably be that 8th inning guy, and Ottavino should be the 7th or 6th inning guy, middle relief.
I think ultimately the most frustrating part of this downturn we've seen since the Cardinals series is just the lack of offense. It's the lack of offense. I mean, the starting pitching has been relatively well. The bullpen has been pretty good. There's not a lot of complaints to the bullpen outside of Diaz, melting down. It's this offense. I mean, it's an offense that, it's not being outside of Lindor and Nimmo, not a lot of money within this offense, but they're names. They're names that should be producing, and they're not. I mean, they said it on the broadcast today, on the radio broadcast, anytime a team hits 3 home runs in one game, they win 78% of the time. Yeah. And it's a lack of offense all around, because it's not just it's not just hitting the ball. It's just finding ways of getting on base. Yeah. Because if in 2 out of those 3 home runs, if one other guy found a way to get on base, like you're I guess you're still down by 1 run, but like still it's just like it's so frustrating that there's 3 home runs and all 3 of them are solo shots. And then what do the Guardians do? What does Andres Jimenez do? An ex-Met gets up to the plate with 2 guys on and ties the game in one swing. Ties the game, and that sucks. That sucks because his team hit 3 fucking home runs today. 3 home runs, and they still couldn't win. And they, in my eyes, they kind of got blown out again. This was a blowout. It was a late game blowout, and just like no heart. No soul. They look fucking lifeless. This whole offense looks lifeless. All of these guys that are supposed to do something are not. Yeah. And I'm not a Vientos guy. I believe more in Beatty. But Vientos is your hot hand. He's making a case for himself right now. Yeah.
He looks legitimately good. It's not even like he's not just looks. It's not just the thing where he's like, oh, he's at a hot streak. No, he looks good.
He's played 9 games this year, so you call it a hot streak, but whatever. He's producing, so he should be in the lineup every day, right? I guess 100%. Jeff McNeil has warranted some time hitting 2 straight home runs. I'll give him that, but other than that, he's been a disaster. Lindor's been a disaster. Nimmo hasn't done much. I don't know. I really don't know what else to say. Other than and this doesn't, I still don't feel like this team is a total disaster. Now, they just look like they're in a rut. The offense looks like it's in a rut, and then it compounds and makes the bullpen and the pitching look even worse because we can't score runs. Even Quintana looked fine today from what I saw up until that last inning, until he gave up a 3-run shot.
It's tough too because last night's game was a game where it was Hauser again, and he went and blew up while the offense really did a great job. Not only did they get out to some early lead, or no, actually I'm sorry, they didn't take an early lead, but they went out there and they came back every time. Someone from the bullpen or Hauser gave up some runs, they would come back and fight within a run, and it kept happening, and finally they didn't have enough at the end. And it's tough because And when you also look at it, the team, like I know you can say the production hasn't been there, and that's 100%. The production hasn't been there. Guys aren't getting on base. They're not, and when guys do have these big hits, no one's on base. They're not driving anyone in. But you look at it in another light. I mean, guys like Lindor and Nimmo, to me, they've been getting more unlucky than not. And yeah, I guess you can look at it like, yeah, well, you still got to find ways to get on base. You still got to find ways to help this ball club. But when your expected stats and your actual stats are just, there's such a discrepancy between the two, something's gonna give, and there's got to be some greener grass on the other side. There's going to be some brighter days, and I know no one wants to hear that when your team's playing like shit, but it is what it is, and we're gonna have to find the little positives here and there when our team's really just not performing like we want them to. And look, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's making statements, sitting guys after some really rough days, but it's tough because the guys that you want to sit
maybe
that have had
dropping
rough
guys
days,
in the order. Maybe dropping guys in the order.
I know you talked about dropping Lindor, but then it's 2 days in a row where Lindor has 3 doubles and a single and an RBI in 2 games, and it's just like, how can you drop a guy after doing that? We yell at the Mendoza and Buck when he was here for benching Beatty or benching Vientos when they would have good games, and then we're gonna go and drop one of our highest paid players, our highest paid player in the order after he has 2 great games in a row.
I think the spotlight is just on him because of the money he makes, and
100%. And the stats too. And like I said, when you break things down, it's not as bad as it looks. And I tweeted this out yesterday.
But we shouldn't be saying that about we shouldn't be saying that about a guy like him. He's an all-star. That's what he's capable of. He's capable of getting MVP votes at the end of the season.
And he has.
And okay, in the past,
last
once he kind of, what was it, last year or 22? I think
both
it was last
years.
year.
I think he had top 8 finishes.
I mean,
top 10.
I just think if we have to keep saying he's not that bad, he's not that bad.
I think what we could not that bad.
No, but
yeah.
If you have to keep making a case for him about expected stats and well, he doesn't do this, but he does this. I feel like we don't say that about guys like Aaron Judge. We don't say that about guys like Freddie Freeman. What's something what are 2 things you could say about Judge, right? Because he's in this town. You could say he gets hurt a lot, and that's true. That's absolutely true. Is it his fault? Probably not, but he gets hurt. Okay. And he strikes out a lot. And I actually just looked, I wanted to see, who was leading the league in double plays. And Alonso's up there with 8 this year.
Yikes.
I think he's top 6. And it's actually Judge who's 11 double plays this year he's hit into. But that's a guy that it's hard to poke holes in his game because, he'll still hit, 40, 50 home runs. He'll have a high batting average. This is a power guy that's got a high batting average. He's got a high OPS. So there's not a lot you could really go after a guy like a Freddie Freeman or an Aaron Judge. To me, that's kind of the gold standard I hold Lindor up to. You are you're a $34 million a year player. You're a guy we gave up assets for. You came here, you demanded money, you got that money, and we're always hitting you at the top of the lineup. I get so frustrated because this is what we're watching is not him. That's not who he is. No. It shouldn't be who he is. It's not. And it's there's so many inconsistencies with him. And I know at the end of his season, every year, okay, it looks a little better than what I thought, but we shouldn't be saying that. We shouldn't be saying that. We should be saying yeah, he's a damn good player, and these numbers back it up. But
they have the past 2 years, and I know, and it's tough to
1 year over an 800 OPS. He's never bat as a man. He's never hit above a 263
270.
270. No, I don't think he ever had a season.
2022 was 270, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think he did, but I could be wrong.
Look at it right now.
I just think we have to search. We have to search for him, and we shouldn't have to.
270, yeah.
270. We shouldn't have to do that. We shouldn't have to do that.
No, I agree, and I'm someone who actually doesn't love OPS as a stat because I think if you look at it, you look at slugging and on base percentage. There's no reason to bunch those two together because that could be someone that's not necessarily a guy that walks a lot, but has a higher slugging percentage. So, and his OPS is going to be weighed down by the on base percentage. I haven't looked at them both for him, but I get what you're saying, and we know what he is. He's a gold glove defender. Yes. I think he's someone that's going to hit for power. He's going to put up 30 home runs. He's going to put up 30 doubles. He's going to drive in close to 100 runs every year. And he's going to be a staple at the top of the order. And look, I know you don't want him to be right now, but at the end of the year,
there's nothing else to do. There's no one else to put there. So that's the one thing I'll give him. Like, there's nothing else. But like,
it's all going to work out. And you know what the thing is we weren't saying this in 2022. You know why? Because we were winning at the beginning of the year. We got off to a great start. But last year, when it really started with him, we weren't off to a great start. And we needed those wins at the beginning of the season. And when we didn't get them and when he wasn't performing, same with this year. You know, he gets hot in a week or two and he goes on a month tear where he's hitting 350, OPS over 1,000. And, you know, it's going to be everyone's tune is going to shift. I think when you look at it, we know he's going to be a streaky guy. He's not going to be an end-to-end, you know, guy who's going to perform for you all year round. And yeah, we need that.
But it's fair to be frustrated with him when you're making that money. That's what comes with the money.
100%.
That's what comes with like changing your hair color and your glove and your cleats. Like when you demand that attention, yeah, like people are going to calm down on you when you look like dog shit. And that's the nature of it. And I think sometimes the frustration is like is much, and like it's only directed at him and not directed at other players. Like I'll admit I've done that like so many times in the past, but it's just like when you want to be a superstar in this town and you want to be paid like one, this is what the fuck comes with it. And yeah, you know what? Like sure, 2022, you know, I guess we weren't saying that, but like Marte goes down in 22 and we're looking for someone to step up and become a catalyst for this offense, and no one did. And he's included in that no one. Not him, not Pete, not McNeil, nobody. Nobody stepped up in Marte's place to be a catalyst and to get things going again. And, you know, that 101 season ends in a 3-game series in the wild card round. Like, stupid. And you just, it's not all on Lindor. Like, Lindor is a part of it. But it does bring me back to, and it's too early because it's May. But if me and you were having this same conversation in September, and things look bleak, and it's like, you know, you gotta shake up this core. However you do it, you gotta shake up this core. If that means not re-signing Alonso, if that means cutting McNeil, I don't know what you gotta do, but you gotta shake up this core. And if that means not moving on from Lindor, but not making him the focal point of the offense anymore, then that's what that means. Your glove is still there, but, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really good segue into our next point, and that's just some of the positive that's been going on with the Mets right now. Because I think shaking up the core is a very highly likely scenario, and maybe I'm jumping the gun on this. Maybe it's way too early, and it 100% is. But with how Vientos is playing, maybe he's a replacement for Pete Alonso. And I'm not necessarily a proponent. I'm not, you know, advocating for just dumping Alonso and not, you know, trying to sign him. But if it continues like this, something does have to give. And money might have to be spent elsewhere. We might not be able to spend $25 million on a guy who, he's going to hit 50 home runs, but also, or not 50, let's call it 40. But also is going to maybe bat 230 for the year. And that's tough to do now when we're not getting a ton of production elsewhere. We need a guy that can go up and put up Juan Soto-like numbers, hint, hint. And, you know, also maybe someone who, a top-line pitcher that we don't really have on this club right now. And I think another big thing for it, too, is, and it kind of shows with what David Stearns has been doing, he's been calling up a lot of guys and moving them up the farm system a lot quicker than we're used to seeing. Like Ryan Clifford's already in Double A, and he's a potential Pete Alonso replacement. Nolan McLean's already in Double A, and he just got drafted. I mean, Blake Tidwell's in Triple A, and it's, you know, it's showing that David Stearns is ready to make moves, whether that's just
Yeah.
replacing guys on this current roster or getting ready to showcase them to make trades for other guys. And I think
If
if this team doesn't make a run at the wild card, I don't think they have to make the playoffs for a huge shakeup to happen. But if they don't make a run and this team doesn't show some real life come come the end of the season, I think a shakeup is bound to happen where
oh yeah.
our staples of Alonso, our core of Alonso, McNeil, Lindor, and Nimmo is going to be Nimmo and Lindor are part of another core. I don't think
Right.
Alonso and McNeil are here much longer. I don't think McNeil's here after this year to begin with, but Alonso is probably not far behind.
If Stearns has shown us anything, he's not. There's no loyalty. Not loyalty. That's a
Anyone.
bad word.
No,
but,
there's no
there's
loyalty.
just
No, it's a great word. There's no loyalty to anyone, even people he
Yeah.
signed
Yeah.
and traded
Yeah.
for in this offseason.
And I mean,
he's dumped them to the curb.
now that we're on that point, like I don't. I pray to God we never have to see Adrian Hauser pitch for this team again. He's a fucking disaster. I cannot keep watching this guy. I swear to God, like I understand Buto had some things to
Agreed.
work on down in AAA, but like
No.
Jesus Christ, just throw Buto out there every 5
No.
days if that's what you're gonna. Or hopefully we see
No.
Peterson.
I think it was a spot start for Peterson. I think I have to
hope.
think Peterson's probably
hope,
taken
and-
over because Lucchesi. I think it was Lucchesi's spot he threw in, and Lucchesi had a rough go of it in AAA today or yesterday. So I like I said,
Yeah.
I think he's shown no loyalty at anyone, and
No.
this core is going to be changed soon.
Yeah, I mean because it's kind of been 4 years of this. Outside of 22, it's been 4 years of like oh if they just had this and like oh well this guy this guy's not that bad. He does this and that and like eventually something's got to give. Like eventually we do have to look at these players and you know what the frustrating part about this is that we're gonna release Jeff McNeil either during the season or at the end of the year because there's no trade value for him, or maybe we'll trade him. It doesn't matter. He's gonna go somewhere else,
Yeah,
and I'll guarantee you for the next 5 years he's gonna be hitting well over like 290. That's gonna happen. Like that's just
I
that's
don't think
bound-
that, but
That's maybe not the next 5
that's the
years. but,
Mets
like,
thing.
That's
Yeah.
a Mets thing, right?
That's
and
a
like
Mets
we
thing,
won't sign Pete Alonso, and next year he'll go to the Cubs and he'll
Win the
hit
MVP.
he'll hit 285 with 57 home runs. Like that's what's gonna fucking happen. I know it, and I'm just gonna be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
this was dumb. I watched him do this. Why didn't we just pay him? But unfortunately, you don't live in that world. Like, and things just have to change. And,
Things need to
and
change.
We do have to remember that sometimes guys come here and they get a second life. They get a second chance of things. I mean, Exhibit A, Luis Severino. The Yankees were very quick to move on from him, and he's
Yeah.
probably our most reliable starter. And he's been excellent for us. And I mean, like that's the one positive that you could spin out of this season outside of seeing the younger kids play. At a minimum, at least there are some pieces here that
Let's say Sean
we can
Manaea has
trade.
been a strong
Yeah,
positive.
Sean Manaea's been good too, but there are some pieces here that if things do not work out and the Mets continue to look like hot dog shit into the All-Star break, you could trade some of these guys and actually get something for them, and you're not tied down to money really on any of these guys after this year. Manaea, Severino, JD Martinez,
yeah.
right? That's a big one. So you'll be able to get something for these guys. So at a minimum,
Pete
at least
Alonso.
Pete Alonso. I mean, listen, if
Push comes to shove. I mean,
push comes
you gotta
to
do what you gotta
shove,
do.
I'll say two things, man. Like, if we get to that point, I would want the
be a
Mets to
sad
at least sit down with him and say, like, we're trading you not because we don't want you here, but because we can't compete and we don't, we're not guaranteed to have you next year. So if you take this trade as like a slap in the face and you're telling us right now you definitely won't come back, like, I mean, it also depends on like what you're getting back for him. But like I would hate to see like him start to pick up his play, look really good, and we're out and we trade him, and then he looks at the Mets like, I'm never coming back to you because that's
That'd be a
happened
shitty
before.
feeling.
That's happened before with a lot of athletes where they told the organization like, I don't care how much money you throw at me, I'm not. If you trade me, I will never come back to you. But I also
That'd be a
did see
shitty way to end.
I saw a quote from Stearns not a quote from Stearns. I shouldn't say that. Like a quote from someone within the organization that
Yeah.
had said someone had brought this up, trading Alonso, and he was
It
like,
was Billy Epler.
It was Billy. No. But somehow it involved Stearns, but Stearns didn't get
I
hired.
think I remember
But
it was. I think it was Billy Epler brought up I think
the
it was brought
offseason?
up when Billy Epler was here trading Alonso like at last year's deadline or something, and then when they asked Stearns the question when he after he was hired, and then he said absolutely not, we're not trading him, something along those lines. And I remember
That's
what
what
you're
I'd
talking
say.
about. I saw it on Twitter
Yeah.
a couple of days ago, or like a week ago.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think they're going to trade him. I think he's going to be a part of this team long term because I mean it's tough to replace. I mean, even in a
40
down
home
year,
runs a
so
year is
11,
very hard to find.
it's impossible. I mean, even right now, he's someone that's, hitting 11 home runs and he hasn't been playing well. And I really do think that we're close. We're close. We're like another piece in the middle of that lineup that could be the catalyst to do it. I mean, right now, I think Alonso hitting in the two spots is not the best idea. I think someone, there's better skill, more skill sets that could fit that position in the lineup better than Alonso could. And to
Nimmo.
lose that in the middle, Nimmo or Juan Soto, you never know. But to lose 40 home runs in the middle of your lineup, especially if these guys can turn it around, they can construct a lineup that could really utilize these guys' skills and capabilities much better. It would be tough to lose that because then you're looking at a guy that's going to put up 40 home runs and driving 120, 130 RBIs, like he did in 2022.
You've got to replace talent with talent. And
Yeah.
Pete Alonso, since he's gotten to the Mets, has accounted for, I forgot what the number was, going into 2024. He has accounted for like almost 20% of the runs on this team.
Yeah.
Like, that's a quarter of your offense just gone if you let him walk. And I'm like, part of me says, I don't care how bad he looks this year. I still want him back. And then there's the other part of me that says what I said 5 minutes ago. Like, something's got to change here. And he's been a constant. So I don't know what the answer is. But at the end of the day, it is still too early. There's a lot of baseball left. We're coming up to Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
They're not completely out of it, right? They're like 6 games below 500. Like,
Yeah, like 3 games out of the wild card or something.
Right. So, like, a good 2 weeks can completely flip that. But it's got to happen. Yeah. It's got to happen.
Really, these guys really haven't gotten, hot yet. I mean, other than I think Nimmo got really hot at the end of April. Other than that, we haven't really seen someone really kind of take off. And that's kind of bizarre, especially, say what you want about all these guys. People want to – I'm a huge Lindor supporter. I think he's great. But, some people, they want to say he's dog shit. He's not worth any amount of money. That's a little extreme. But, that's extreme. But with that being said, he's bound to hit a really hot streak soon, and it's gonna happen. Like Pete Alonso's gonna go off, where he's gonna have like a 2-week stretch where he has like 9 home runs, and he's gonna drive in 20 RBIs, 25 RBIs. These guys are gonna go on hot streaks, and it's weird that they're all kind of ice cold at the same time. Maybe they're all gonna get hot at the same time. This is gonna be a team that can win, knock off 5-10 in a row, and knock out maybe like 15-20 or 50, something like that. So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Something like that could completely turn your season around. It's just a matter of it's got to happen. It's got to happen. Yeah. And, it sucks getting swept. There's no sugarcoating that. They've been awful. No. But you're coming home. You're playing the Giants. Come out, take 2 out of 3, and start this kind of reverse West Coast trip here.
Yeah, who do they? The next game is
it's them.
It's Friday.
The Giants. Friday, yeah, they're off tomorrow.
They're off tomorrow, and then they got the Dodgers in Arizona. I mean, Arizona's been bad. We went into LA and took 2 of 3 from the Dodgers. Let's take 2 of 3 from home at home. This is a series. This is a home stretch where we can 2, 4, 6 out of 9 games, relatively easily. They should be able to. I mean, it starts Friday with Christian Scott. Maybe the kid can get us off to a awesome Memorial Day weekend.
And then I think are they away against Arizona after?
No. Then it's Washington, and then it's the series.
It's what?
Washington. Then we got the London series.
Giants, Dodgers, Diamondbacks at home. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh.
it's a 4-game set against the Diamondbacks. So we
Yeah.
can win 7 of 10. But then we got the Nationals, then we got the Phillies in London. So
I mean, the one good thing about playing the Phillies in London is that it's a neutral location. It's probably not the best field conditions for baseball. So, you know, anything could happen. If you could steal one game against the Phillies, that would be great because they're red hot.
I mean, what
What's
was
your
it?
prediction
The
here?
Yankees played the. Mhm.
What?
What was it? The Yankees played the Red Sox a couple years ago,
Yes.
right there, and it was like a
Yes.
30 runs were scored or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was something absurd. People were suspecting that they were using a different ball.
Okay.
What is your prediction here? I'm going to give you in this Giant series. You've got Kyle Harrison against Christian Scott Friday.
Okay.
Hicks against Severino Saturday.
Okay.
And then I would have to assume Manaea goes Sunday.
Yeah,
right?
Manaea goes Sunday, and who is it? Logan Webb probably against.
It's
I
not.
hope-
It's not getting
I hope
me,
not.
So,
Yeah, I hope not Logan Webb, but there's
if
no
we could
reason
see
to not go
anything
out
out
and
of
win
this
2 out of 3.
series, if we see anything out of this series other than the Mets taking 2 out of 3, I really would love to see Christian Scott get back on track.
Yep.
Come out, throw 6 innings, 1 run, 2 runs. I'd be happy with that.
Go
Would
out
be
there and
thrilled,
shove.
but that's 6 innings, 2 runs for this kid after his last start would be fine.
Yeah, go out there and
And
shove.
come out healthy.
You know, he's got some electric stuff. Go out there and shove. That's all I can say. Him, Manaea and Severino have been the 2 constants in the rotation this season. They'll go out there. They'll keep you in the game, and the offense. Just go out there and be consistent. I don't need one game of fucking 18 runs. Just as an extreme example, and then 2 games where you're getting shut out. Where you have 3 hits.
Yeah.
Go out there, put up 5-6 runs each game. Be consistent. I want guys on base. I want some hits with runners in scoring position, and no one's been doing that. I think the only one that's really been doing that is Nimmo and JD Martinez. And those guys, hopefully, JD Martinez, Vientos, hopefully them hitting well can kind of translate up the order and then down the order.
Right.
Get these guys hit in front of you,
find ways
and
of
then
just
get these
stringing
guys
hits
worn
together.
down.
Find ways of stringing hits. I mean, it hasn't been since like April that we've seen them actually do that in a game. They haven't done that once this month, where you just saw them
wear the pitcher
hit after
down.
hit.
Yeah. That's the thing is they're also not wearing the pitcher down. I mean, like today, for example, to give Lindor some points, some brownie points. First at bat, 11 pitch at bat, and then you know what happens? Pete Alonso comes up, first pitch home run. Lindor got out, but wear these pitchers down. Work long at bats. Get string together hits and wear these pitchers down where guys can really take advantage of mistakes.
That's what the 2022 Mets did so well.
They
were able
down
to get
early.
to teams' bullpens by the 4th, 5th inning, night after night, and that's to me that was the recipe of success for that team. I mean, I've said it here before, but it's so true. I mean, the 2022 Mets were not the best hitting team in baseball, but they were probably
statistically they were, but
no, I mean, but like. You could find a few other lineups that were better that year.
Oh yeah, better lineups.
To find more than 2 or 3 other lineups that were better plate appearances than them, I don't think you would have found because they were just like I remember every Brandon Nimmo at bat was at least like 8 pitches.
Yeah,
this guy
he was going
just,
deep into counts.
Yes, always working counts. Guillorme was, say whatever you want about Guillorme, he might end up
When
striking out, but. Geez, the guy would work a fucking 11-12 pitch at bat, and that was big. And these Mets just don't do that. I mean, the past 2 years they have not been able to do that, and that's been killing us.
No, they haven't been able to do that. And the thing is like pitchers are going to make mistakes. Every pitcher is going to Every pitcher is going to go out there and they're going to hang something. You want it to be when guys are on base, not when there's no one on base, because, Pete Alonso, JD Martinez, Lindor, Nimmo, all these guys are going to take advantage of it. But when there's no one on base, that doesn't instill fear in these guys. They're going to go out, they're going to go back to that well 10 times out of 10 because they know, if they can strike you out 5 out of 10 times, they can induce weak count the other 4 out of 10 times. Yeah, whatever it may be.
Good results.
They're going to go and take those odds. They're going to go take those odds when no one's on base. But the thing is, when people are on base, you create that bit of fear, and then you get them to hang some, and then you get into their bullpens. You just keep piling up runs, chip away, and before you know it, you have 5, 6, 7, 8 runs, and you're winning. You're putting it in the books.
My dinner's getting cold. So, what's your
What do you got?
prediction? I made spinach, which I ate. I tried. I'm not getting into what I got. Spinach, and then I made some spaghetti. But I think, yeah, that's whatever. Not a good decision. But here we
I
are.
like spinach.
Do the Mets take 2 out of 3 this weekend?
Do they? I I'm gonna go out and say they do. I saw some life. It wasn't that consistent. There wasn't that consistent batting approach that I would like to see, but I saw some life. Lindor was going out there and working some good at bats. He was making some good contact. Had a few hits today. Had a few hits yesterday. Pete Alonso with his home runs. Vientos looks good. JD Martinez has really kind of just been awesome. And Nimmo, I love Nimmo. I think he's going to be great. Just a matter of the bottom of the order can really do it. If Neal can keep it up. Harrison Bader, Tyrone Taylor, they can keep it up. Marte when he's in the order, when he's in the lineup. I think they do. I think they go out and they have a good series against the Giants. I think you're going to get Christian Scott on Friday. He's going to shove and he's going to have a great start. I think Severino, day game Saturday, I think he's going to falter a little bit. I think it's going to be more of a hitter's duel, offensive performance. And I think Sunday's going to be an odd one where it's going to be a pitcher's duel. I think it's going to be I'm almost positive it's Logan Webb. And I think Shawmut is going to go out there and shove against them.
Mets have had a lot of trouble on Saturdays this year for some odd reason, whether they're home or away. Just they've been terrible on the weekend, specifically Saturday. But
I've been terrible at home in general.
Yeah, I know. They really have not been good. Really, past like 3 years, they have not been. Their record on the road is better than it is at home, which is odd. But all right, I think I'm with you. You know what?
There's no reason
I
getting
don't
down
have
on
a good
these guys.
reason. Exactly. Let's just be positive. That's where I'm at. I'm going to be positive on these guys. Take 2 out of 3 for the Giants. No, fuck that.
I'm not some negative guy that's gonna. I'm gonna drive myself crazy. I'm gonna go in there positive, and they lose, they lose. But
and you always bring me right back up, Zach. Anytime I'll always call you or text you with something awful that should never be said out loud, and you always kind of bring me right back, which I appreciate. So yeah, I'm going to say I'll be with you here. I think they'll take 2 out of 3. I have no good reason why I think that. I'm just being hopeful, blind hope. Gonna rip plenty of beers this weekend, and hopefully I'll have some time to yell at the TV. And let's see them take 2 out of 3, and then get into that Dodgers series on the right foot. I mean, if they could put it this way, if we could get back up to 500. Or a game below by that London series, you could really start to turn things around. You really can. And you have an opportunity.
100%.
You have an opportunity.
100%.
I mean, the Dodgers are great. The Giants have been pretty good this year. But you've got a stretch of the Diamondbacks and Nationals. I think all those games at home.
Yeah.
Where you
winnable
can turn,
games. All winnable games.
Although the Nationals have been better than us this year. But that's just record. I think we're a better lineup than them. We should be able to.
Nationals aren't a great team. I mean, we should be able to win that series. We should be able to beat the Diamondbacks. We should be able to beat the Giants. We have beaten the Dodgers. Go out there and do what you know. Do what everyone knows you can. You know you can, and give us something to root for this weekend.
All right. That's all we got. We will hopefully see. Maybe we'll see you guys this weekend. I'm not sure. I got to see availability, but
I'll try to get out there this weekend.
Until then, let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets. Thanks everyone for watching. Be back in the normal studio next time.